with increasing force, exerts his power. She cannot survive the attack. An entirely different species will benefit. The great hammerhead, the largest reaching 20 feet, and one of the few sharks that eat other sharks. For this gray reef shark, her fate will not be as a mother, but as a meal, in the perpetual exchange of one life for another. The shark way of life may be brutal in our eyes, but sharks are a success story in terms of evolution and survival. Their main threat comes not from within the ocean, but from what is beyond the surface. For now, Rangiroa may be a haven for sharks, but Jean-Michel is concerned about their fate if fishing practices should change. He expresses his worries that, unmanaged, even here the shark will be hunted and sold.
Ici, dans les Tuamotu, les gens n'ont jamais pêché les requins, alors que vous pêchez tout. Mais vous ne pêchez pas les requins. Pourquoi?
La réponse est simple. La réponse est simple. Qui va prendre ces requins-là? Comme le poisson, les langoustes, il y a quelqu'un qui achète. Mais ces requins-là, qui va prendre? On pêche pour quoi faire?
D'accord.
Ça les ennuie parce que ça mange leurs poissons. Et donc c'est une nuisance. Et par contre, s'il y avait un marché, ce serait une ressource. Je suis convaincu que si tu éliminais tous les requins de Rangiroa, tu aurais des tas de conséquences sur la pêche. Les requins jouent un rôle très important.
Je ne pense pas que nous, on va pêcher le requin. Jamais, peut-être jamais, jamais. Mais les thoniers, c'est surtout ces thoniers-là. Parce que moi, dès quand ils viennent ici, là, c'est des paquets d'ailerons qu'il y a derrière. Et quand tu vas regarder dans la cale, il y a 5 ou 6 corps. Je peux te dire, ils doivent...
Ils gardent les mécos.
Voilà.
Over 100 million sharks are caught each year, half of them by accident in nets or on long-line hooks. But also, a growing Asian middle class is now willing to pay over $200 per pound for shark fins in order to serve shark fin soup as a sign of prosperity. As a result, sharks themselves have become a profitable target. They're stripped of their fins while the rest of the body is thrown back as waste. It's a slaughter of unprecedented numbers, the ultimate effects of which are unknown. How devastating will the ripple effect be in a decade, after 1 billion sharks have been taken out of the balance? In 20 years? In 50? It's an issue that concerns marine biologists like Holly around the world. The removal of predators at the top of the food chain trickles all the way down to the smallest of creatures in the ocean and to the very foundation of the world's coral reefs, the anchors of life in the ocean.
So I've got down to 120 feet, waiting for sharks. All right. If we have sharks, we stay for filming them with Jean-Michel and the team. If no sharks, we continue inside to the current and we drift to the lagoon.
It's the final dive. One more chance for a great encounter, one more opportunity to learn.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
The team plans each dive carefully, but exploring the wilderness beneath the surface brings with it the unpredictable, unexpected, even the unknown, and the thrill of knowing that every dive will be unique. This time it isn't sharks, but dolphins that first approach. Nothing in the sea is more opposite sharks than dolphins. They're warm-blooded, air-breathing mammals like us, and mating is a matter of mutual pleasure all year long. We share more traits with dolphins than almost any other animal. Intelligence, living in tight societies, using language, taking care of each other, and having lots of fun. Dolphins play constantly and aren't shy about allowing people into the mix. Even with dolphins, sharks play a role. Sharks are their only natural predator, and dolphins band together for protection. Outnumbered, the shark will usually keep moving. Ahead, another of the ocean's key predators, barracuda. It's an awesome sight to see them in such massive numbers. It's a powerful example of a species that is not overfished, and so they've flourished in their place among sea life. A pair of flounder mates in an elegant dance. With the grandeur of an ancient tall ship, a sailfish cruises by, capable of bursts of up to nearly 70 miles an hour. Only a handful of sharks emerge. Not the great numbers the team had hoped to see. The question arises, if the slaughter of 100 million sharks a year worldwide continues or increases, could this be a preview of shark populations of the future? Coral reefs are the world's underwater rainforests, thriving laboratories of the most ancient experiments in how to live. A vast network weaving species and populations together, each depending on the other's continuity. And these paradises, as we know them, cannot sustain their vital balance without the shark. It's time to go. Eve directs the team toward the pass and into the strong currents.
What a great dog.
The current just takes you. All of a sudden, you're whoosh.
Right through the channel.
Yep. You don't realize how fast until we got along the slope.
The wall and you just...
The coral's cruising by. It's not the coral moving, that's us moving.
Yep.
I'd say that was a good 4-knot current in there.
Yeah, it was pretty fast.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, what a beautiful spot.
À la maison. On rentre à la maison. You have a lot to gain, you as a person, by better understanding these animals. I'm not saying you don't have to be careful. I'm saying more I observe them, more I have a profound respect for nature, for the environment, and we have a very important responsibility when it comes to allowing nature to continue its course, and that will affect the quality of our lives. In the end, nature will survive, but perhaps we won't. That's what we need to, at all costs, make sure doesn't happen.
Elsewhere in the world's oceans, a different kind of shark encounter, where the impressive factor is not the number of sharks, but the size and power of the most famous and feared of them all, the great white. They patrol coastlines around the world, but great whites are concentrated in the waters of the northeastern United States. Northern California, where there are more great white shark attacks than anywhere else. The Australian coast, from southern Queensland to the Northwest Cape, and off South Africa. It's here that Jean-Michel will meet the shark of our nightmares. A treacherous maze of jagged rocks and tiny islands, the Cape of Good Hope has claimed some 2,700 shipwrecks in its cold, turbulent waters. For one of the largest populations of great white sharks in the world, this is home. Thousands of Cape fur seals draw them to a narrow channel between Dyer Island and Geyser Rock, known as Shark Alley. For his face-to-face meeting with a shark that can be 20 feet long and 4,000 pounds, Jean-Michel's guide will be Andre Hartmann, a commercial fisherman turned shark tour guide and a great white defender. His 3 decades of experience with great whites have come one shark at a time.
Well, the first year I saw a great white was 1977, and in the following 6 years I saw 23 with me in the water while spearfishing, and I lost count after that. When we started opening the shark's mouth, it was actually accidental. We started pushing the sharks off the engine, and the motor is like a limb, you know, it's hanging underwater, and they often turn on their sides and bite it. They feel it's hard and they don't like it. And then they break teeth and they disappear and we don't see them again. One day, one little shark came around the corner and I thought, I wonder what it'll do if I stick my hand under his nose and lift his nose up and see what happens. And when I did that, he came open in a wide gape, showed all his teeth, and that's how it started.
What Andre Hartmann is doing is really helping us understand these animals more than we have in the past. Experimenting, finding new things, learning about them a little bit at a time, and more from a behavioral point of view, contributing a lot to our understanding of the great white sharks.
Breaching is something that sharks do naturally. When they catch a seal, they recognize it as prey and they hit it at a high speed from below. After 1 year of working with sharks on the surface, you sort of get an urge to get in the water and learn more about them because you're limited to what you learn when you're watching from the surface. So we started getting in the water with them and see how they accept us there.
2 miles from shore, Jean-Michel and his carefully selected team prepare. They'll rely on Andre's experience, but this dive remains unpredictable. Each of the highly specialized divers is assigned a critical role for the dive, planned with perfect precision. There will be no margin for error. The law requires a shark cage, but their real protection is each other.
When we see the shark is very calm, we go in the water, right? Once you're in the water, if the shark comes at you, don't run away. Keep your distance. If it comes at you, you have a little stick, you just tap it or you just push it. It will move away because it feels something hard.
So what are your signals underwater?
If somebody sees a shark and we are on the surface or even underwater, you go toot, 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 toot. And people that's on the boat, they see a shark, they will tap on the ladder. And if another one arrives, we do it again. Okay?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
For the first dive, they head for the bottom where the rocks provide some safety, but also in hopes of luring a great white close to them. To protect their vulnerable belly, sharks maneuver to keep any possible threat from being beneath them. When the great white spots them, it swims down to investigate, all 15 feet of it. The security divers make sure everyone is aware and continue watching for any others that may arrive. The shark comes in for its first test, getting a taste. It rejects the hard object. The key is never to lose track of the shark's position and to confront it head-on. Clearly in charge, the curious great white takes its time. Great whites attack 7 or 8 people every year, and most survive. The attacks occur when sharks mistake a human for its preferred prey. A gentle tap on the snout is enough to discourage this 1.5-ton animal to move on. We're learning that this perfect apex predator is of a far more complex nature than first observed or imagined in our fear. The entire sea is their domain, yet the great white travels alone, surprisingly vulnerable and in streamlined perfection. Should the shark decide to lash out, there is nothing the team can do to stop it. But Andre's continued efforts to learn more about great whites pay off. The shark remains calm, unthreatened, allowing Andre to make contact. The dive has exceeded expectations. Of the thousands of hours Jean-Michel has logged in the oceans, this has been a first. There's plenty to be excited about.
There's two things that really got to me, and I was like being lying on an airstrip, and having a 747 or a beautiful airplane taking off right above your head.
That's amazing.
And then I was amazed to see how gentle and timid and elegant, and at the same time I thought, of course, very, very powerful. But this is not, the thing that everybody should do. At the same time, this is a proof that they are not those nasty guys. Otherwise, you and I, and all the security people who are here, there are a lot of people watching for us, we wouldn't be here. They are the giant of the oceans, and very lonely too. I used to call them the lonely lord of the sea.
They head back through Shark Alley. Cape fur seals come here in the tens of thousands every winter to mate and pop, and to get fat on the abundance of these waters. A paradise for seals, and an enticing feeding ground for the great white sharks. The sharks fuel their high-energy needs by feasting on the pups that are up to 50% fat. While it may not evoke our sympathy, a shark of this size has to work hard to get a meal. Though its powerful and efficient body can reach speeds of 25 miles per hour, it is easily outmaneuvered. Here, too, the shark plays its primordial role in the large balance of predator and prey, invigorating the population, able to catch the weak or sick. But even then, not always successful. Onshore, an unfortunate discovery. A fur seal entangled in a torn net. Without hesitation, the crew sets into motion. Andre accepts the risk and heads for the shore in hopes of freeing it. His efforts may be insignificant to this thriving population of thousands, but it means everything to this one animal. in South Africa and in all countries where there are great white sharks, the United Nations now regulates and monitors all trade in great white shark parts and products. There is still much work to do, but there is hope. Daybreak brings its new challenge for Jean-Michel. The final dive that will test his beliefs about great whites even more. For these African penguins, it's a daily test. Found only off the South African coast, these flightless birds are easy prey to sharks patrolling for a better meal. But unfortunately, it's not the great white that most threatens them. Over the last half-century, the penguins' numbers have plummeted 90%, all due to human intervention. From guano mining, which has reduced their habitat and forced them to compete for breeding space with the fur seals, to oil pollution from tankers and commercial fishing, which has reduced their food supply. Awkward on land, they are graceful in the water, swimming up to 5 miles an hour. Nevertheless, the sharks just pluck them from the surface. But nature has provided this underdog with a few tricks to even the score. So simple, yet so effective. And for Jean-Michel, as he heads to sea once again to enter these treacherous waters, an inspiration. If this small penguin can find a balance with such a large beast, perhaps people can too. But even here, an encounter is not assured and must be coaxed. For this dive, Jean-Michel and Andre will snorkel on the surface, giving the great white all the advantage. There will be no protection other than a stick in their hands. In a display of raw strength, the shark lunges and snags the bait, tearing it to shreds. A reminder of this animal's awe-inspiring predatory power. As always, there are others ready for any meal left behind. The conditions are right. The dive is a go. It's a dance of patience. Both the divers and the shark careful not to provoke the other, not sure of each other's intentions, but not wanting to scare the other away. Slowly, yet surely, one step leads to another, deeper into the unknown and the unexpected.
That was something, huh?
That was nice.
I did exactly what you told me, and that was just to get the tip of the dorsal fin, and you know, I just pinch it with 2 fingers.
Yeah, yeah.
and it was going slowly and didn't move at all when I did it. And I was taken on a ride.